So here we are, only a few days after the death of Renee Good, and while both sides spin tires on this topic, the left tends to grind my gears a little more than the right, mostly due to the rhetoric the left has maintained for many years now about how kind-hearted and empathetic they are, which means, of course, that anyone who disagrees with them is automatically the opposite of that, and therefore evil. Let's take a look at some clips.
Yeah, I'm just really upset that this is happening in America. We got people that are dying, that are dead. We got others that are getting kidnapped. They're going into places they shouldn't be. There's no plan. They're like completely out of control. There's obviously hardly any coordination. They're showing up wherever they want, when they want, and doing what they want.
Oh my god, it's almost like they're federal agents employed by the government of the United States of America. And now, first of all, can we stop saying kidnapping? I don't care what Merriam-Webster says. It's kid plus napping. Stop using kidnapping to talk about adults, especially 63-year-old dictators, all right? They're not kidnapped, they're abducted, captured, whatever. Those are more appropriate words. Stop saying kidnapping to sympathy bait. Now, more importantly, the ICE has no plan. They have a plan. It's just hard for them to execute their plan. They're running around confused. They don't know, well, how the hell are they supposed to get from A to Z when this is what the Democrats are doing?
Park. That's where people first gathered today, thousands of them, not too far from where Renee Good was shot and killed by that ICE agent on Wednesday. Protesters marched, covering city blocks and slowing traffic for hours to send a message to federal officials.
And the message is that they are going to disrupt the city of Minneapolis or any other city that they choose to do this in, and that'll save the illegal immigrants. Is that what that'll do? And what? No. You know what that's gonna do? It's gonna make all of those people feel good about themselves. It's gonna make them feel like heroes.
And we're not gonna stop until they get the hell out of Minnesota.
Is that a Venezuelan flag there? Legitimately can't even tell what they're saying half the time through these crappy speakers they use. Is that a Where's Waldo hat?
We need the banners to be in. You have to back the fuck up if you are press. I don't care who you are or who you're with. Our banners are demands.
Is it Mexican flag here now? Of course. Look at this. Disrupting the peace, blocking the roads. This is saving the illegal immigrants who have invaded the country and resulting in citizens dying. And they're going to blame that on ICE. Well, this is what ICE normally does when people aren't trying to riot against them. Yeah. This is how protests normally go. The ones that... The ones that aren't constantly on the news because of how dramatic they are, but you could still see, even in this situation, we've got chuds like this guy. Listen.
Hands up, it's a vehicle, don't shoot. Don't shoot. It's a weaponized vehicle.
So you're saying that vehicles can't be deadly weapons? If you're having someone who's fleeing the scene of a crime, I think that's a little bit different. But we've still got these chuds sitting here saying crap like, don't shoot at the weaponized vehicle. Again, this is what protests normally are, because this is what the Democrats are.
Good job. Quit shooting job.
Did you guys know that Renee Good is who you murdered yesterday?
Did you know that? Did you know that Renee Good is who you murdered yesterday?
These people are just unbearable. They sound like middle schoolers. They have no comprehension of morality or even common sense, but they insist that they're objectively correct, objectively moral about everything. Meanwhile, you can barely even hear them because of their banging on drums and their blowing of whistles and their honking of horns. And when you do hear them, what you hear is, quit your job, quit your job. You want them to quit their job? Well, then how are they going to pay for their livelihood, huh? I mean, wait, sorry. How do you have time to follow around agents all day long and harass them? Who's paying you? Who's paying you to do that? Screaming Nazis, banging on, like, drums or whatever the hell that is, blowing whistles, holding up signs which have slurs on them.
We'll find some minorities today.
screaming about how they're racist and so forth. This is what's helping, is it? This is helping whom exactly?
Don't try to skip nothing. You touch any one of us, you get arrested for assault. You're the only fucker touching anyone here. Back out. All you gotta do is move. Back out. Back out. Hey, fucking move.
Trying to get in the way of the cars, like they always do.
What do we do when we are under attack?
Under attack. I'm gonna turn that up a little bit. What do we do when we're under attack, they said?
Stand up, fight back!
So this Saruman-ass wannabe Karen is literally out here telling people, instructing them to stand up and fight back. They're saying that they're the ones under attack, which they aren't, not until they go out and get in the way of ICE, and at that point, it's sort of a defensive thing where they're the aggressors, and now they're saying stand up and fight back. That's what they're saying.
Fight back! Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back! Stand
No human being is illegal. Well, look at that quaint little sign there. There's no such thing as an illegal alien. It doesn't exist. Hey, just hop on a plane, go to whatever country you want to then, right? You're not going to get thrown out of that other country because, well, there's no such thing as an illegal human. You just go over wherever you want. If they give you any trouble, you just give them that sign that says no human being is illegal. That'll work, right? I'm sure France, Japan, China, Chile, Argentina, and any country would be fine to let you just walk right in. No questions asked, because there's no such thing as an illegal human.
up, fight back! Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back!
Showing you this crowd right now.
Stand up, fight
You have a deputy's squad car.
Look at this shit. What is this for? Who is this for? Is this for Renee? Is this for the illegal immigrants? This is for themselves. It always is. It's always done for the sake of themselves.
So different from the Minneapolis police that we saw earlier.
It's actual hippie communes parading down the street with drum circles. That's insane.
And again, still that honking of support as this protest, which had arrived back at where it had begun and ostensibly seemed to be just settling in to do more. It's often been sheriff deputies who have been clearing out protesters who...
And look at this. Like, how do you justify this? Everyone's talking about how the ICE officer jumped in front of Renee's vehicle, which is clearly not what happened. And now look at this.
show up to ICE operations, clearing out those protesters.
Isn't that odd? It's okay for you to do it, but not okay for them to do it. And the thing is, there's video evidence that ICE didn't actually do it with Renee. They didn't do it. They were moving in a direction, but Renee backed up in another direction, pointing the vehicle directly at the officer. That's what happened then. This is someone deliberately standing in front of the vehicle, on purpose. Many people, actually.
Or at least clearing a path through them, allowing the ICE agents to...
And this, again, to remind you, this is the big-hearted, empathetic crowd of people. The ones who are always objectively in the moral good. It seems like they're just out there, angry, bloodthirsty, animal-like people looking to satisfy their own lust for violence, really. And some Channel 4 here.
Mobile phone footage has just emerged, which appears to have been filmed by the immigration agent who shot a mother of three in Minneapolis on Wednesday. The video was released by Alpha News, a right-wing Minnesota news outlet. In it, Renee Good can be seen sitting in her car, blocking the road and smiling at the officer. Approaching her. Let's listen to what happened next.
Now, they did say that she was blocking the road, but they also said 4 other things that were intended to charge you, to polarize you into believing in something before you had even seen it, and I'm just not a big fan of that.
We showed the new video to Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry.
He walked away with a hop in his step from the incident. There's another person that's dead. He held on his cell phone. I think that speaks for itself.
I think that Your dramatic pauses speak for themselves.
Does that video, that angle, change your perspective at all about what may have happened?
I think an investigation could change or affirm my perspective, but we've got all two eyes.
An investigation could change or affirm my perspective, but we've got all two eyes. So you want an investigation, but then at the same time you don't need one because you've got eyes, right? First of all, very insensitive. Maybe not everyone has all two eyes.
And I can see a person that is trying to leave. I can see an ICE agent that was not run over by a car. That didn't happen.
A frame.
Completely agreed. It didn't happen. But at the same time, he's making no effort to give the proper narrative, which is that you did have someone who had backed their car directly at an ICE agent at point-blank range and then started accelerating, making the agent fear for their life. That's important context, I think, which he conveniently doesn't mention because he's too busy talking about how nice the weather is.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. This is pretty. The snow.
Yeah, that's so pretty. Reminds me of that scene from The Walking Dead where they convince the kid to look at the flowers. Just pay attention to the flowers. Just pay attention to the flowers. Just look at those pretty flowers.
Do you see how a pastor in Minneapolis tried to intervene while ICE disappeared someone? They put a gun to his face, handcuffed him, and eventually let him go because he's white and wouldn't be fun anyway.
I arrived at church yesterday. I noticed that there was something going on just a block and a half from the church. And I went down to see what was going on, and I realized it was an ICE raid, and there were many, many protesters. So I joined the protesting, and before I knew it, I saw ICE agents circling a young woman who appeared to be Hispanic. And I said to this ICE agent, "Take me. Stop harassing her. Take me." The agent came, got in my face, pointed a gun at me, and said, "Are you afraid now?" To which I said, "I am not afraid." The next thing I knew, they were putting handcuffs on me, and they put me in the back of an SUV. They came back 3 times, and they asked me if I was afraid yet. To which I replied, "Hell no, I'm not afraid of you, and I'm never going to be afraid of you." And then they said to me, "Well, you're white. You won't be any fun anyway. You can get out of the car." I was astounded to experience and see such blatant racism.
What this pastor did was amazing and very brave. But this is what ICE is trying to do, scare people into not standing up for their neighbor. Now, the pastor ended the segment by saying that he was surprised by that he is white interaction. I hope the pastor understands that that is what it's all about, white supremacy.
That's right. It's always about white supremacy. Always has been, except for the times when it's about being a Nazi, or being a PDF, or being a homophobe, or being a transphobe, or being an Islamophobe, or being anti-Semitic, or. There's just so many things that the left wing accuses the right wing of, all of them generally considered to be negative things, generally agreeable as negative things, which is why, of course, they always do that. Mark my words, it won't be much longer until they start accusing all the right-wingers of being dog kickers. I mean, it's the classic movie trope. How do you prove someone's really a bad guy? Well, you just have them kick the dog. Everything else they did wasn't proof enough. That's what it always is. It's always baseless accusations with no proof whatsoever, in order to galvanize people against others of a certain ideology, in this case, anyone who isn't a Democrat. Did you see any proof in what the pastor was saying? Well, you saw a man with a bit of an LA Valley Girl lisp and some rainbows in the background who definitely has no bias towards one side of this argument here. He was just talking, wasn't he? He was just saying things that happened, but there wasn't any proof shown. The news didn't have any proof. They were just showing random pictures of ice in the background. My dad once handed me his phone, and on this, he had his pastor pulled up. Very religious man, my dad. He ironically, he had a pastor pulled up. The pastor, pacing back and forth across his stage, ranting and raving about a woman who claimed to have been possessed by a demon, and this demon, through her, wrote a book. And at the end of it, my dad is like, that actually happened. How can anyone dispute the word of God when this is the kind of thing that happens all around us? What didn't happen? A woman lied about a demon possessing her so that she could sell a book and get rich. The pastor doubled down on that lie so that he could sell himself to his flock and bolster their faith. It didn't happen. What are you talking about? Possessed by a demon. Get out of here. Did this pastor provide any proof of him being arrested by ICE, detained by ICE, of them being a white supremacist towards them? And say they were. Say that this one ICE agent was a white supremacist. And there's definitely some in ICE who must be white supremacists. That's just part of the course. There's definitely some people in ICE who are undoubtedly going to be racist. Obviously, that's indisputable. But say this one was a white supremacist. Does that make every single ICE agent a white supremacist? Does it make every person in the government a white supremacist? Every Republican a white supremacist? Everyone who isn't a Democrat, white supremacist? That's how this mindset works. They can only stop saying it once they've completely destroyed everyone who disagrees with them, because what they want is absolute power, which is why they accuse everyone else of being the undesirables, the bad actors, the malcontents. Being a racial supremacist is not something that is going to be tolerated, so they're accusing you of being a racial supremacist with the desire to completely and totally destroy you.
Well, we're gonna make sure we don't put the wagons in front of it.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to put the wagons in front of Renee Good's picture as you're using her, once again, as your battering ram, literally trying to break down the front door of the White House with it. Good God. This is just pathetic, this particular clip. Well, it's just an hour and 26 minutes. It's a White House protest where it's like, I mean, it's raining, to be a little bit fair to them, but it's like a parent-teacher association trying to put on some sort of, I don't know, like prom for the kids or something, and they accidentally burn the entire school down in the process. Like, the whole of this is a catastrophe. You've got speakers screaming through feedback. You've got a bunch of people sympathy baiting. Pretty much everyone who walks up and talks on this thing is saying, my feelings and ice bad, and then everyone cheers. I mean, right from the start, you've got everyone in their pajamas with rainbow-colored umbrellas. This is just... It's just misery simulator right here.
Bring it over here. Jimmy, I'm moving over. Jimmy.
Let's bring it right up here in front so everybody can see it.
Yeah. You want to make sure everyone sees Renee Good's picture.
Did I get 5 more?
I saw you a minute ago. Okay, I want to invite up as our first speaker, Kelly Michael Williams.
Barely even tell what they're saying.
And, Kelly, I don't remember how to introduce you.
I don't remember how to introduce you. That kind of just sets the tone for the whole thing. It's a fun watch if you want to look it up. It's on DRM News. So I'll just end with this. From Progressive HQ, a purpose-made subreddit that was made in June 26, 2025. 2.6 million weekly visitors, 158,000 weekly contributors. They break all of their own rules because this is it's a clearly purpose-made, astroturfed left-wing propaganda platform on Reddit, where the only thing they do is post propaganda. Like this here. I couldn't even find this post. Maybe I just didn't see it, but it's a 27-second long video showing this interaction, which I've shown in previous videos. This man was shot in the chest with a powder gun, and everyone's freaking out saying it's a headshot. Minnesota originally posted this, and they posted this still image of it because it makes it look like it's a really, really bad headshot, right? But you have to shoot them in the face or somewhere around the face, otherwise the powder does nothing, right? Like, it's an irritant. It doesn't do anything if you shoot them in the foot. Anyway, the first post as well is making it sound like the Pope is attacking Trump because no other country is at war, right? Iran's not at war, Russia and Ukraine, they're not at war, Israel's not doing anything. No, it's only the USA that's doing something. So, of course, the Pope is directly attacking Trump. Anyway, you've got this video here. These are all ICE protests, from what I can see. And that's just so insane to me. Like, wake up, USA. It's time for a change. It's been a year since Trump was elected. Time for the impeachment process to begin. I think you mean begin again? Again? How many times has it been now? And they're not using Venezuela. They're not using Greenland. If anything, you should be using Greenland as your argument. But the illegal aliens, that's the problem that you have? Getting rid of the millions of illegal aliens that we have. Yeah. Right. So the left wing is protecting illegal immigrants whilst playing the Star-Spangled Banner over their protests, and the right wing are all dog kickers who want to kill everyone that's not white. Okay, sure. Of course, the responses are like, oh, well, this is all so astroturfed. Everyone's a bot. Meanwhile, this is Progressive HQ, a subreddit made for the explicit purpose of astroturfing Reddit and making everyone into hyper left-wingers. Like, I wouldn't be so frustrated about this if the left wing was a bit more honest, but all they do is condemn everyone who isn't a Democrat of being every single trigger word, while they maintain this ridiculous mentality that they are the paragons of morality, which, given the fact that they're compulsive liars, is clearly totally untrue. Anyway, thanks for watching.
Take care now. Bye-bye then.